Welcome back to Funny Yet Serious. Thank you guys for viewing, watching, and subscribing.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a truly inspiring and accomplished individual joining us as our special guest. Emily is a dynamic individual whose journey is marked by perseverance, innovation, and a passion for dance and acting. So without further ado, let's welcome Emily to the podcast.
Yay!
Want to give a huge shout out to who, Diego?
To my writers.
To your writers. Okay. And
My writers wrote that.
your writers. Okay.
It wasn't ChatGPT. It was my writers.
Okay.
I had a little bit of help.
Okay. Great. Well, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. It's been a long time that we've been trying to make this happen.
Yes. Okay. I do get shy. Okay. Thank you for having me. It was a very nice introduction. You guys are very nice. And yes, we've talked about this for I don't know,
Oh, wow.
months.
Yeah.
And we've never coincidimos en la hora. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Is this like a Spanglish thing?
You can do whatever you want. It's fine.
Okay. We never have the same time.
I got you. I was going to tell a story as like an icebreaker, but Diego told me it wasn't funny.
Tell the story.
Tell the story. Okay. So the last time I saw you, I remember you talked about some dance thing that you wanted to do. I don't know what it's called, but you wanted to dance at this place.
What place?
I don't know. But the story is, I remember you told me that. And then one day I saw you post and like you did that thing in the
I
place.
did?
I think it was like Vibra.
Vibra Urbana?
I think it was that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an event. Yeah.
Okay.
And I talked to you about it?
I remember you mentioned you wanted to do something there and then you did, I think.
I did.
Okay.
I
Is that
did.
something you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I remember this, and then I was like, wow, that's huge. So I was like, let me say congrats. So I went into my contacts, and I was like, let me text her. But then it turns out I have a lot of Emily's.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And one,
Yeah, I'm not special.
Big man over here.
Basic name.
one of them was Emily History. And I remember we had a lot of classes
Emily
together.
History.
So I don't know. I assumed it was you. And so I texted this person a nice message, and they left me on red.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
then you ended up, when we were trying to do this, you gave me your number, and it wasn't you. Yeah, so I texted a
You could have
stranger.
resent the message to me.
Well, this was like a year later that I got your number. I thought it was a little late.
Yeah,
But-
it wasn't a funny story, but no, I'm just
It
kidding.
was an icebreaker.
No, but it was nice. Thank you. Even though I never got his message, it is nice that you said that. I don't remember actually telling you about it because I don't remember what I ate yesterday. But I did want to do that, and I did it, so it's nice.
So what is Vibra? Is that Vibra Urbana?
Mhm. Yeah, it's yeah,
I have some good memory.
it's like a festival for like artistas urbanos. So like
Spanish artist.
yeah. So I danced on stage with Manuel Turizo. You know who
Mhm.
Manuel Turizo is?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he
Manuel
knows.
Turizo.
Ese mismo.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy.
So yeah, that it was fun because I always wanted to have the experience of being on stage with an artist, either on tour or like festival or concert or whatever. And that was my first time, and I think it was nice. It was fun to be the first time. I think it was pretty exciting because it was like a big stage, and I was really shy. Like I was scared, but I had a great time. So
That's good. I'm gonna rely on Diego to hopefully do a lot of the talking because he actually knows things about Spanish artists. However,
I don't know anything about Spanish. I just know that they're Spanish artists.
okay.
okay.
And I recognize their names because your Instagram is filled with Spanish artists and
Yeah.
you've performed for many of them.
Right.
But I want to take it back a little bit and talk about how did you get yourself into dancing?
Dancing, like in general, like
Just
dancing.
in general. Like when did you say
It
this
all
is...
started when I was 5 years old. Literally, I was like 5 when I took my first dance class, and it was in school, like the school that I used to go to in Venezuela, because that's when I was born.
Mm.
That's where I was born, and like I was like super tiny when I started dancing. It was mainly the como que bailes del país, folclóricos, cosas like representing my country. And then when I turned 6, so yeah, I did that for like a year, and just like dance, regular things from school. But I really liked it. I loved going to that. And then when I turned 6, I started going to a salsa studio, like outside the school, just like at a school for salsa dancing. And I was like the only child there. Everybody was like old. And I went in there because my sister also wanted to join in. So my cousins, my sister, they were all in that. And I was like the only young one. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it too because I can do it. So I went in and I loved it. And then after that, everybody left. Like all of my cousins and my sister left. And I stayed, like, I persevered. And I stayed dancing. I loved it. And there, like, from when I was 6 until 11, I did like everything related to Latin. So like salsa, bachata, merengue, kizomba, like anything that's Latin, Afro-Cuban, all of that, just when I was little. And then when I got here, I stopped dancing for like a year because that's when I got here and I didn't know any studios or anything. I was 11. And then when I turned 12, I found like a studio that I really liked, and I've been there ever since, dancing salsa.
Caribe Dance Studio.
Yeah,
See, I did my research.
Shout out to my people in Caribe because they are the best. If you're trying to learn how to dance salsa, you should definitely go there and you should say that you come from me.
Your recommendation?
Yeah, and then you get your first class free for sure. But it's the best studio for salsa learning.
I know you teach dance. Is that where you teach or no?
Yeah. I used to teach more regularly, but now I stopped because it's really hard to like follow their schedule. But I do teach sometimes. Like this week I taught. Last week I taught one day. So sometimes I teach. Just it depends if both work schedules match.
So you're like a special guest.
I'm a special guest. Yeah, but I'm always around. But I don't like having a compromised schedule because I don't like faltarle ni nada. Like I don't want to be rude.
What time in your lifetime did you say, I think I want to take this to the next level where I can like actually make it like dance for these big artists? Like when did that opportunity came?
So I did my first ever ghetto music video when I was like 15. That's when I did like it wasn't ghetto, but it just wasn't like a big production. It was a very calm thing, and I liked it, but I kept on just training dance, like on the side. I didn't really market myself like somebody to be in the industry. I just was doing dance for myself. And then when I turned almost 18, like 17 to 18, that's when I did my first music video. And it was because I started doing more like urban stuff, like hip hop, reggaeton, more of that. So I started, I always kept the salsa, but I went to that. I started doing urban. And in class, I would just like record myself and post it. Or if I would record myself when I'm home and I would post it. And I guess I started following like choreographers and people that were in the industry. And then they would follow back, or they would, because normally when you follow somebody, you go in there to see who the fuck's following you. Who's this? So I guess they would check out my stuff and they would see it. And then eventually one of them reached out and they just gave me an opportunity to be in a music video. And after that, it was just like networking and meeting people and keep on like the grind, But
that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's.
Keep on keeping on. So did this all start after you graduated? Because when we were in school, I don't remember you ever.
Yeah, it was after. It was after because it's like I didn't have school to worry about. Like that was my school, like going to dance class. That was my school. Because everybody, after we graduated, everybody wanted an actual career. Not an actual career, but just something that you have to go to college to or something after. And me, I didn't have that because what I wanted, you don't really have to go to college for that. Like you just train your skill. So, yeah.
And did this come to you after you graduated, or while you were in school? Were you thinking like, oh, I think I want to
So
Be a dancer.
yeah, so I've always wanted to be a dancer. So I always trained dance even when I was in school. But I knew that I wanted to have that as a career also. So I knew that after high school, I wanted to do something related to that. Like if I was gonna go to college, it would have to be like an art school. And I just ended up actually doing the acting school instead of a dancing school, because when you go to a music video, when you do a casting for dancing, they don't really ever look at your resume as in what school did you go to, you know, but more of like what skills do you have. Yeah, like you don't have to go to college to you could have gone to college and maybe I didn't go and we know the same things, or I even can do more things. So when I realized that that didn't really matter, I just started like going to class to different dance studios to learn as much as I could. And that came, yeah, after high school, just because I didn't have to worry about homework or anything. Like it was that.
She found a skill and she 100% put her passion to it, and it's blown up.
Yeah, I feel like I had to, because if not, I would have been like a dropout, you know? Like, oh, she just dances for fun. I'm like, no.
Well, one thing I also remember you wanted to do was have your own dance studio. Is this still a dream of yours, or now is it like travel the world and dance for people, I guess? I don't.
So I don't scratch it from my head. It is an opportunity. It is something that I would consider, but it's not something that I like require. You know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to do this for me to feel like complete or successful. But I would like I don't know, eventually if I feel some type of way and I don't want to keep on dancing for somebody, but have like my own space, I would love to have my own studio. But it's just a studio, not really a dance studio, just somewhere where you can create art, you know, like you can have a spot where you can film, you can have a spot where you can do other things like singing wise, and you can do content, and I can host classes from other choreographers, not only me. It's just not like a dance studio, more like a general studio where you can do different stuff.
I mean, it makes sense. Your life has definitely expanded in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Because, well, when I really knew you were a dancer, now I see you model. You're trying to do acting.
The model part is like I don't know.
Well, there's like a big poster of you in the airport, so I don't mean.
Right, yeah. I feel like it goes like parallel, you know, like if I do a commercial, if I do something, pictures and content is gonna come out of that. So that goes somewhere. But it's not like I don't know how to pose like a model. It's different. They do have some skill that I don't think I have. Like I do see I am an actress and I am a dancer. And sometimes like modeling comes in within a little bit, but it's not like I model. Like I don't know how to walk like a model.
Okay, so what you're saying is we won't see Emily walking on the
runway.
The runway?
No, not really. No. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to. My bad. Kind of fucked up there.
Oh, okay.
Cut it.
No, I'm not. It's all staying in. We want to see you fuck up, Diego. It's been a long time since we've been here, so I want to see all your fuck ups. How rusty are you?
Yeah,
very rusty.
If I'm not answering your questions, you can repeat the question, because sometimes I go.
No, I wanted to ask a little bit more about the acting part. What kind of gigs have you done?
Okay, so in the acting side, I haven't done as much as dancing, because dancing I've been doing forever. So I danced forever, and then like 4 years ago, that's when everything started happening for the dancing as a job, as a career. So acting, I graduated in December, and I went to school for acting for 2 years. So everything's been like a little bit more like slower, because I just did the acting thing. So I feel like it's gonna come eventually. But one of the things that I've done is I did like a pilot for a mini series here that they did in Miami. It was a little chaos, like the whole production thing. Everybody was mad because it had dancers, it had actors, it had like like un perro de policía, a bunch of stuff, and everybody was over it. But I was like really happy about it because I got to act for like the first time. I had to like learn something that wasn't like school related and that I was getting paid to. So it was like a thing for me. I did a play in school, like the school where I graduated, and I choreographed the play. So it was cool because it's just like the acting. I mean, the dancing's always been related, like no matter what. Like I feel like if I wouldn't have started there, I wouldn't have gotten here. So it all goes. Acting also more in commercials because it's like a bridge. Like right now, I'm trying to use the commercial world as a bridge to a little bit more depth. Is that how you say it?
Depth.
In acting. Like I'm trying to go from dancing, and then commercial is a little bit more like, okay, so this is your cousin and that's your grandpa, and so it's a little bit more like acting, less dancing, but it's still a commercial. It's still something that you have to sell. It's not 100% real. It's like you have to look good. It's a little bit like modeling with acting and sometimes dancing, but it's like the bridge that helps me go from dancing only to acting only. Like
And so you did the...
So I've done, sorry, just to answer the question, more acting-wise, it's been more commercials. And yeah.
So you did the pilot. Is that more or less the goal? Like, are you gaining experience in acting so you could start doing, like, shows, movies, that kind of thing? Or
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm trying to use those experiences as in, like scratch, like, ¿cómo se dice? Como que hago y like when you do it and you fail, and sometimes you do it and it comes out good, like
Trial and error.
yeah, that, yeah. So I always take advantage of those type of things. So it takes me to where I want to go, which is eventually film. Film is like the bigger goal, film. But I would also like to be in like a series, like a show, like a Netflix show, like Hulu, something like that.
And so what was the final deciding factor when you got into acting? Because you started taking acting lessons, right?
Yes.
So what was like the final straw where you're like, okay, this is what I need
Like
to get into acting?
To get into acting, like to the acting school?
Yeah.
Like okay. So the thing is that I've always loved the magic with the camera, like a production. Like I love being on stage. Yes, I love dancing and doing music videos and stuff. But I love storytelling. Like dancing is more like, it's like a drug. It's like you do it and it's like, wow, and then it's over. I feel like with acting, it's something that stays longer. You can leave a message and people get impacted by it, or you feel like relatable. It's something relatable. You see something and then you cry or you laugh. I like that. I like that you can, through the screen, you can tell people something and they can either feel like, oh, that's me. Like I've been through that, or I know somebody, or it's more meaningful to me than other things. So when I started like just researching and doing stuff, and I've always done like TikTok and things like that, and it would just get complicated and more complicated. Like I would complicate myself on the tiniest thing, and I'm like, yeah, I had to pursue this. Like I had to do something bigger than this because I really like it, and I would complicate myself. Like something that I could just do in a video like this, I would like just make a bunch of different angles for no reason, because it was just only I was gonna watch it, me and my mom. So, but then I was really into it, so I was like, you know what, I want to try this other thing, and I loved it.
You recently, well, I just saw that you've done a bunch of skits,
Right?
especially on TikTok and Instagram. Is that where like you kind of see yourself like doing these like kind of like skits and kind of growing through the acting through there?
Yeah. I feel like if you tell people that you are a shampoo, they're not gonna buy you thinking that you're soap. You get me?
Okay.
Like
That yeah, we can work with that.
like if you say I'm shampoo, then when they need soap, they're not gonna go to you. They're gonna go to whoever soap is. So I feel that if I market myself only as a dancer, then I will get booked only for dancing. So it's on me to show the other things that I can do so that people can be like, okay, if I need an actress, I can also go to this girl. So obviously social media is one of the I think it's the biggest thing right now, where you can show whatever it is that you do. If you cook, if you do anything, that's where you need to show it, because people are not gonna go somewhere in a store and see you there, unless it could be, but it's not what I mean. Like, you are responsible for showing what you want people to see.
I wasn't sure where you were going with the shampoo and soap, but that was great.
Right?
So, yeah,
it does make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the skits, it's just like things that I come up with that I have to write, obviously. So it exercises a lot of different parts of my creativity, because I have to write it, and I have to do all the different characters, and I have to act it in front of the camera, and I have to set the camera, and I have to set the lights, and then so it helps me a lot, because when I'm on set, it's like I know exactly how it works, and I know if I'm burning here, and I know if like everything. Some actors don't really know that, because all they do is act. That's your job. But once you know about everything else, it helps with your performance.
Go ahead.
You were recently in a commercial for Sefri Hills.
Oh yeah.
How does that?
Let me hydrate, because my
Actually, that is Zephyr Hills.
She's drinking Sefri Hills.
Okay, but you didn't. So a big part of what I wanted to ask with the storytelling is, I feel when you're acting, you're portraying a story. It sounds like maybe, would you consider being like a director, and you tell the story instead of just portraying someone else's?
Yeah, I like different aspects of the whole side of production, like post-production. I love editing. I love it.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I love editing, and I love like the whole pre-work, like planning everything,
Setting up, writing,
and I love just like, yeah, that was cool, but can you try it this other way? Like, let's just see how it goes. And I also like doing it myself. So I would consider eventually, if like Michael B. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, he did Creed, and he acted, and he produced, and he directed. You do all of that. Same things in and Euphoria and things like that.
Do you think the skits helped you find that love, or did you start doing it because you're like, I love editing, I love post-production, I love pre-production, I need to do something so I can practice?
I think it's a little bit of both. Because when I used to do just like funny things on TikTok, like 2 years ago, like during the pandemic, it was like all funny stuff. It wasn't like a whole production. It was just me setting up my phone. So when I started doing those things, I really liked it. So it took me to pursuing it professionally. And then now it's the other way around. Now I do this skit so that I can show that I can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also things that I haven't done in acting, but if some people, if they're not able to see it, they don't know what you're capable of. So I try to do things. I try to produce things myself that are things that I see myself getting booked in. So they can be like, okay, she can do comedy, or she can do drama, because they wouldn't know if they're not able to see it. So if they have it there and they see it and they like it, it's different.
So as it pertains to the skits, what's your creative process like? Like, how do you come up with them? How's the writing process? The camera angles, the characters?
Okay, that's fun. Usually when I come up with a skit, it's because it happens to me. Like something funny happens, and I'm like, wait, I have to write it down so I don't forget. Like, I don't know. I did one where there's a date. I'm sitting down on a date with somebody, and they talk about my career and just insult me, like, to my face, pretty much. So that kind of happened to me. But most of the time, I exaggerate everything a little bit, because if not, it's not that funny. Like, it's okay, but it's not that funny. So I just make it a little dramatic, and that's what it's like, So usually it's something that happens to me, or something that somebody tells me. Like the other day, my sister told me a story about her best friend, and I'm like, that's really funny. I'm going to write it down. So I write down anything that could be made into a scene or something like that. And then after I write the situation, I have to start the dialogue. I think that's kind of the hardest part, because if it's not something that happened to me and I have to put a lot of imagination in it, then I have to like come up with a whole dialogue, what this person would say and what the other character would say, and the back and forth. And the rhythm is really important. Like if it's comedy, it has to be quick, and if there's pauses, it's like in a specific place, and then the music has to be on point, and everything has to be on point. I have a little OCD with that, so it takes me a long time to finish the whole product. But first is like you pick the situation. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. You pick a situation, then I come up with the dialogue based on the situation, and then I do like a spreadsheet of the angles. So I write down everything that one character does, and then all the actions that the other character does. So I have to do like all one character sitting down, everything just talking to herself, like there's nobody answering, just everything. And then I go there.
You good?
I'm good. And then I go there and I do what the other character is supposed to say. Like I'm saying, how are you? Oh, really? You're good? You know, like you didn't answer, but I have to know it. So I write down every action that each character has to do. And I have to write down next to it what angle I'm going to film that in. If it's going to be like a close-up or more like a medium shot or cowboy, or if it's something more wide. And I have to imagine, since I'm also editing it, I have to imagine what I want it to look like at the end. So I kind of work backwards. I imagine what it's going to look like at the end, and then I go from there to the beginning. And that's how I know, I want the camera to be here because I want her when she turns around, it's like this. So it's a little confusing, and it's hard if there's too many people working on it. That's why I do everything by myself. Like I do ask for opinions and stuff, but I do most things like that. And if I miss something, it's really hard to go back and do it, because if it's like 4 characters and and when I'm editing and I'm missing a reaction, I'm like, I can't. It doesn't work. So I have to write down everything, that way I don't forget.
I'm very similar in the sense of writing things down when they happen, because I know, for example, with the podcast, I'm like, we need topics. So whenever something funny happens, I write it down. The only thing is I can't predict how this guy is going to react. So sometimes he'll have a funny reaction. Sometimes he'll just be like, really, Brian? You know? And the same thing with post-production, when editing, like you have to, like you said, it has to be quick and simple so people can get the timing. But you use a lot of cool words there, like medium shots, post shots, cowboys. Where'd you learn all that?
So I pay a lot of attention when I'm on set. I learned a lot of that during sets and in class, because one of my last semester in school for acting was production. So our teacher, we had a few teachers, and my teacher for that semester, he wasn't an acting teacher. He was a director who teaches you about the things on set. He teaches you how to get to your mark without looking down. He teaches you how to work the lights and stuff. Some students who are not really inclined to knowing those things, they would just like go along with it. But if I'm into it, it was really useful, because that's how I get to set up everything when I'm home, when I'm doing things by myself. And on set, it's very important, because you have to pay attention to what the director is saying. And sometimes when they be like, okay, so this is going to be a close-up, and you're like, what is that? So you can just ask somebody, like the camera guy, like, what's a close-up? He's like, oh, you're going to be like right here. If you don't ask, if you don't know, their performance is going to be different, because maybe the camera's right there, but it's a very close-up lens. So I would think that you have me completely, but maybe you have me only here. And I'm like, oh, you have to portray the fact that you're nervous. and I'm like this, and I'm moving my feet. So that makes me nervous, but the camera doesn't see that because it's like this. So I have to like do something with this that makes you know that I'm nervous. And if it's like a wider shot, all those terms you learn on set or if you go to class. But if not, you wouldn't know and you wouldn't use it to your advantage. Does that make sense?
Those are definitely great details. I think the audience will pick up on when watching.
According to Emily, I've been nervous the whole podcast.
You
I've
twitch?
been doing it.
Same.
I've been doing this shit.
A little bit of this.
Well, I think you're just anxious.
You know what's you know what's funny? Once you do these podcasts and you look at yourself, you're gonna see yourself doing like some weird like.
You're like, why do I do that?
Like,
why do I sit like that? I don't know.
I think I'm great. Never noticed anything personally.
Humble.
Speaking of humble, I've tried during COVID. I did one video like that where I wrote a script, I filmed it, I got a bunch of different angles. That one I think was okay, but then I tried another one maybe like a year ago where it was maybe the worst thing I've ever watched. Like it was horrible.
Was that the stuck in quarantine or whatever?
No, that's the one that I think was okay. But then I did one that was like a day in the life of someone.
But you like acting?
I don't think so.
So what is it that you
It was like a YouTube video.
like a YouTube video?
Yeah, it was really bad. it was. I posted it. I was like, oh well. But no, I deleted
Tenga
it.
miedo a morir que no nazca. Así es.
I deleted it. It was really bad.
You deleted
I
it?
got rid of it after like a week. It's that bad.
Yeah. It was bad.
I don't know. I don't remember. I probably didn't watch it.
This guy's an
He
ass.
sent his videos on the group chat. Probably didn't see it.
Yeah, this guy's an ass.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I'd be a phenomenal actor. So
He would. He sweats a lot. Like just
well,
walking.
that's just because I'm nervous. What if I take the role as the nervous guy in the class?
You
How
can
many-
just play one character.
That's it.
It'd be like
You
The Rock.
dude. I can play one character for the rest of my life, and I'd be set.
Yeah, but how many of those roles do you think there are of people who are just sweaty and nervous?
I don't know.
You wouldn't get a lot of screen time.
We'll see.
Okay.
How do I pursue that? If I were to get into acting, like where do I go? Do I sign up for a class? Do I sign up for the same class you took? Is that a possibility?
It is a possibility.
I don't think she believes in you. That sounded not confident.
No, yeah.
Damn.
No, just playing. Well, I don't want to say the things that you should or shouldn't do for acting just because I am not yet where like my end goal. I don't think I have an end goal, but it will be like bigger and bigger than what it is now. But for sure you have to start somewhere, and I would say take classes, do your research. If there's people that you know, for example, you know me, if there's other people that you know that have been to places, that have done some gigs, or know other people, you can ask around. Like me, I went to my acting school is called Adriana Barraza Acting Studio. Adriana Barraza is the name of the actress, and she's the owner of the studio. And it's in Doral, and it's in Spanish. It's a Spanish studio. It's great. She's been nominated for like a bunch of awards. She acted with Brad Pitt. She is on Netflix with some series and some movies. She's amazing. She's probably 60 something. She's great. She's a great teacher, and all the teachers in the studio are amazing. We took classes of theater, film, telenovela, production, vocals, like voice lessons, dancing lessons, like body movement lessons, because you need to know all about you when you're in front of the camera. So
You think you're capable?
Look
What do you think?
look up
Is
agents.
is it in Spanish or in English?
That one is in Spanish.
Okay, because I could barely speak English and I could barely speak Spanish.
Okay. Well, that one really helped with my Spanish, because even though that's my first language, like I've been half of my life in Venezuela and half of my life here, so both of my languages are horrible too. Like they're both like, sometimes I can't remember a word in one, so I don't know. I feel like it happens to all of us. So that really helped with my Spanish because I had to read every single day. Like I read a few pages in books every day, and what helps me is there's some exercise. We put a pencil in your mouth, and you drew like a dog. Like it's horrible, but you have to read out loud with the pencil in your mouth. And once you take it off, you talk so good because obviously your tongue is like. Yeah, so there's just a lot of things. That's in Spanish. There's another one that I go to on Mondays at 7. It's really good. That one is in downtown Miami, and it's called Universal Casting. So they are actually like an agency. They do a bunch of castings. You have to sign up with them. And they also teach classes. I've been on one. There's one that's called The Actory, and it's that one's almost every day. And on Tuesdays, they have improv class. So yeah, just do your research, look up any agencies, follow everybody on Instagram that has like things related to that, and it's the only way to get yourself in the mix.
So you practice in Spanish and English. Do you think you're more likely to end up on a telenovela or a sitcom?
So, I feel like it's whatever you set your intentions to. And the people that you surround yourself with. Because if I want to get like Telemundo, for example, then I would go to Spanish speaker stuff. And if you want to go more on the American side, you have to go on the English side. But I think that I would I would incline more to the American side, like Netflix or something like that in English. If it's in Spanish, it'd be great, but not really a telenovela. You get me? More like a show in Spanish.
I see myself, Brian, in Too Hot to Handle.
Oh,
Being honest with you, I feel like I'd be a great contestant.
It's a reality TV show, Diego. What acting do you need?
Reality TV? That you need acting for that? Come on.
A little bit.
Some of the shots are like super fake, by the way.
Okay.
You notice it.
Well,
too.
speaking of fake, I'm fairly certain I clicked record, right? But I have
But
this
you're
doubt
not.
in the back of my
You what?
Let me just check the cameras.
Oh my god.
Okay, they're recording. What are you looking at? You got something?
Well, I was going to talk to you about, we were speaking off camera about an agent. Because when did you get an agent for dancing, right? Because do you have an agent for acting as well? Or is it the same agent?
So there's agencies and agents that do everything. There's agents that get you jobs for your dancing side, your acting side, your modeling side, your singing side, like whatever it is that you do. I don't have a specific agent because here in Miami, you don't really sign with one agency. It's more like independent stuff, and that's it. You don't have to really sign much contracts. I have a manager. So a manager and an agent are different things. Mm-hmm. So the agent and the agency gets you the gigs, and they look for jobs for you to get. And the manager is the one that manages your career. So it's the one that helps you with knowing what your rates are, gets you agents that get you the job. They have your back. Like managers are the ones that have your back. That's why when you see an artist, they're always with some dude or some girl, and it's always like not their friend, just their manager. It also happens that they have a good relationship because you need to have a good relationship with your manager because that's the person that's in charge of your career. So they need to know what you like, what you don't like. Those are the people that when you get a gig and they're not paying you exactly what you want, or you have any doubts or anything, you tell them, you can talk to my manager. And my manager's like, okay, what is it that you want? And that person needs to know who you are so they can vouch for you. Does that make sense? And agencies here are like freelance. Is that the word? Freelance? When you don't really, when you work independently, like you don't have any strings attached. There's a few here in Miami. Instagram is your way to go, honestly. Everything's there. And my manager, he lives in Atlanta, Georgia, which I'm going there tomorrow to go see him. He lives over there, and he does a lot of music stuff. Like he's like Neo.
Neo. I know what you're saying. But I don't
Neo?
know.
The person,
Yeah,
the artist.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know how to say his name either,
I don't know how to say his name.
but I know who you're talking
Is he
about.
a rapper?
Neo. He made that one song. Is it "Let Me Love You" or is it something with love?
Whatever.
Now I need to know.
You can look it up. He has good songs. It's just very old school. He's also
Talking about Neo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time of Our Lives. So Sick. Miss Independent.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
He's dope. So my manager is more like in the music side, and he's managing him, and he's in the management group for Chris Brown and a bunch of people. So it's great. And in the acting side, he has a girl that she does like karate. Did I say it?
Yeah.
Karate, yeah.
She's great. She does like those people that get chosen to do like stunt jobs.
Oh, yeah.
So she does all the fighting scenes.
So like a stunt double.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She does all of that, which is great.
One other thing before you go that you said off camera was that singing isn't for you.
No.
So how'd you end up with a manager whose main thing is music?
Because the thing is that he wanted to go into another realm as well. He didn't want to stay only on that because he's been on that for years, and he wanted to try something new. And he does have the connections and everything, so he wanted to try another thing, and he's very just artistic, and as a whole, he doesn't just see music. He can see the potential in somebody, and that's enough for him to move around it. So he knows I can't sing, but it's okay with him.
But it kind of goes hand in hand. If you have a manager who manages a lot of artists, those artists need dancers for music videos. Yeah. So that's where you come in.
Exactly. There's this choreographer. So there's this other agency that I've worked with, and it's in Atlanta, and it's called Excel Talent. That's the one that booked me for a music video that I did with Maluma and Adam Levine. So, and they have a bunch of dancers there that are dancers for Beyonce or Chris Brown, and they do the casting rehearsals for those artists there in Excel, which is like this with my manager. So they all work together, but hip hop is not my main thing. So I get very like shy if I have to go into an audition for something that I know it's not my main. But he's just around, like you're saying, he's around a bunch of artists and a bunch of opportunities that if anything comes to mind that I can be used for, then he's gonna call me.
You mentioned Beyonce. Does Beyonce have her like own dancers like in like her little group? Is that like a thing?
Yeah, but I think it changes. Like, so everybody's replaceable. Sadly, you see, everybody's replaceable. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's somebody just as good as you waiting to be booked. You hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
Oh, Josh finally notices it.
So so every year or every time she goes on tour, there are some dancers that stay, but they do auditions. No matter if you're already in the team, you need to audition again. And if you get booked again, great. Sometimes you make bonds with the artist, so they want you and they ask for you. But most of the time, you need to do your auditions every time, even if you are already picked for other things. And if you don't get picked this time because the person next to you is better than you, then it is what it is. Like, you may have your group, but you're replaceable.
You mentioned the bonds with the artist. I kind of wanted to ask, maybe without saying who, like, what's one of your worst on-set experiences with these big artists?
You know, people always ask me that, expecting me to say, "Oh my God, this happened once." Nothing's ever happened that big, but I can say just like the one time that I felt was very off and unnecessary, just with a little bit like, what? I did a video with Sech and DJ Khaled.
Another one.
And he was just rude. Like, this was little bit before pandemic. I mean, a little bit after the pandemic. So everybody was already chill about it. They started making music videos and stuff again, but we had to keep our distance, and they wouldn't have a bunch of people on set, which is okay. But when it was time for DJ Khaled to perform, they would take everybody out of the building, like out of the building. When Sech was singing, everybody was on set. All the dancers, all the models or whatever, we were on set. And then when it was DJ Khaled time, like nobody could be in the building. Like he wanted to be completely isolated, and he just wouldn't let anybody get close to him, which I thought was a little like diva of him. But it is what it is. But I haven't. Besides that, I've had good luck, because there's some messed up stories that other people tell, but I don't really have. There's one, but they didn't.
There we go.
They didn't. They didn't treat me bad, but it's just sometimes they forget that you're human. By they, I mean the production. I don't want to talk shit because I want to get booked, so I'm not gonna say much. But dancers sometimes seem unreal. Like you see somebody doing crazy stuff, and you forget that they're human, because they can do all of this stuff. So they had me dancing under the rain for a bunch of hours. Like I got sick after that day, and I was really pissed, because you have me out here dancing in the rain. It was fucked up. It was fucked up. And that's like the only bad experience I would say, but nothing physically or like messed up or nothing shady, nothing like that.
Let me just say that
Sorry,
DJ.
not much drama for you.
I don't wanna shit on DJ Khaled, but he only took you out of the building to say DJ Khaled, and that's it. And then they brought all you back in, because he doesn't really. What is he performing?
Yeah, no, he didn't perform much in there.
He's a producer. He
Right.
says a few words at the beginning of the song, and then that's it.
He says another one.
Another one.
Yeah,
That's it.
and that one. But Sech was really nice. It was great. I recommend to go watch the video. It was one of my favorite videos because the wardrobe was amazing. Maybe you've seen it. It's like it's one where they did a bunch of raids on me. I had a green eye. Like I had a green contact. Only one green one. And the wardrobe was amazing. So everybody had like this revolution, we are the ones changing the world type of thing. But it was like, I don't know, it was really cool. I loved the outfit. I loved it.
Is there maybe any other artists besides Sech that like you loved working with?
Okay. Loved a bunch, yes. Daddy Yankee is great. Like he's so sweet. He's so cute. Like everything, and he looks the same. Like in person, he looks the same as he looks on pictures. Like that guy is like copy paste in Photoshop person. No tiene ni una arruga. Like he's great. Manuel Turizo is very nice too. Marc Anthony is amazing, because that for me is big, since I'm my main dancing thing is salsa. Is it time?
No, you're good.
It's salsa. So I'm a professional salsa dancer, and then I went on to everything else. But salsa has always been my main thing, so I grew up listening to that. And my dad would always play Marc Anthony when he's at home. So it was always like, wow for me. And then when I got to work with him, like I would go in the bathroom and I would cry, because I was just so happy to be there. I didn't care if I wasn't going to show up in the video. I was just happy. He gave me a foot massage. Marc Anthony gave me a foot massage. That could be your your clickbait. Like, it was just it was amazing. Yeah, Marc Anthony was great.
Marc Anthony or the foot massage?
Both. Yeah. And it was just very casual, because it's like we're shooting and they say cut, right? We're going for a break or whatever. And as they're setting up the cameras again, we're all like on hold. All the band, the singer, and the dancers are all like just waiting for them to be like set. And we're all sitting together. So let's say you're Marc Anthony, you're sitting right next to me, and then all the dancers are here, and the band is right there, and we're all just talking to each other. And I go like this. I go, because we had this very uncomfortable heels that they had us all wearing. And I'm like, oh my God, like my feet hurt so bad. That dude grabbed my foot.
Come on, Brian, you're Marc Anthony.
And he took off my heel. And he gave me a foot massage. And I was like this. Like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I'm never going to wash my foot. Yeah, that was the one for the books.
I wanted to ask you, how do you manage your time dancing and your personal life?
I have no personal life. No, I'm just kidding. Something that my sister tells me all the time, like she reminded me today, is that my free time doesn't feel like free time. She's like, whenever you want to do something in your free time, it feels like athletic to me. Like it's very it feels as in like everything I do it with a purpose, and I'm always trying to create. So my personal life is very tangled. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, with your work.
With my work and my profession, you know, like if I go travel somewhere, I'm always thinking about what I can create in that place that I'm going to. You know, like maybe I can make a dancing video in this really cool spot over there, or I can make a skit, or I can make something from here to there. Like I'm always trying to incorporate my profession with my personal life. I do have a personal life, of course. The way that I manage my time is I have to write and set up times for everything. Like I set up the time when I use my phone to do nothing, and I set up the time when I have lunch, and I set up the time when I'm napping, and I have 1,000 alarms on my phone for when, because I want to do a bunch of things, and the only way that comes out is if I'm organized with time. So I wake up, let's say I wake up at 8:30, and from here to here I do this. I read with my pencil. From here to here I have to, like, if I have a dialogue that I need to write, everything I write it down. So because if not, the days pass by and I don't get it done. So the way for me to manage my time is I have this huge calendar in my room, like in the wall. It's huge. It's like it's very big, and that way I get to write down everything that I'm gonna do. That way I don't forget. And I do use the notes on my phone a lot to also manage my time. That's the best way. Yeah.
Is this why I'm always seeing your freestyle dances on your story? Is that what you do in your free time?
Yeah. So, for example, on Fridays, I teach 2 classes. I teach one class at 7:30, and I teach another class at 8:30. So my class at 7:30 is a private. They're both private classes. The 7:30 one is a teenage group. So I have a teenage group, which I love. And after that, at 8:30, I have a private with a couple, like a guy and a girl. And after that, it's like free time. So I finish at 9:30 on Fridays, for example, and I know that I have free time. So I go to sleep at 11:30 every day. I try not to pass that. And my free time is like, okay, now I'm here, and it's like free time, and I have the whole studio by myself, and that's when I play music and I freestyle, for example. So that's free time, but it's not free time to sit down. It's free time to freestyle, because that exercise is a part of me that I have to keep on training. Like if I'm on set and I'm just by myself, most of the time there's not a choreography. Like if I'm not doing a music video with a bunch of other dancers and we don't have a choreographer and it's just me and I have to freestyle, it doesn't come from, like, the moves don't come from the space. It comes from the practice that I have to do to be able to use that when I need it. Like it's like I tell my sister, if I don't stretch my leg every day here up to here, up to here, then when I need my leg to go here, it's not gonna get there. Like I have to do the thing every day so that when I need it, it comes in handy. So I would say my free time, I try to make the best out of it. Like my free time is also skating, you know? Like if I have nothing to do, I'm gonna go skate. My sister's like, that's not free time. And I'm like, I think it's free time for me because I don't live off of skating. So it's free time.
It gets your mind off.
It gets my mind off.
Work constantly.
For her, free time is just doing nothing. Like it's just sitting down, doing nothing. But like if I'm sitting down doing nothing, I'm like thinking about everything I'm gonna do tomorrow. So yeah.
Part of the reason your work-life balance is so busy is because you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you were just in New York and you did that video of where you were in like a bunch of different places and a bunch of different outfits, which was great. Did you plan that beforehand, or did you show up and you were like, this would be cool?
So that trip, I went with my mom and her friends, and it was just a trip to have fun. It was just to have fun.
The girls' trip.
It was a girls' trip, and we just went to have fun. But I'm like, I mean, I have to do something. Like I can't just go and have fun, and I don't have. Like, I have to make something, you know? I have to take advantage of the fact that I'm going there. I have to make something that I wouldn't be able to make here. Oh, I could make it here, but it was just something different because I'm going to a different city, so I wanna do something different. So what I do is I try not to make it look or sound or feel like work because we are traveling. Just hold for sound.
You're good. You're good.
No? Okay. But, and especially when I'm with other people, like people from my family, like I don't want them to always feel like oh my God, this girl is always doing something. So I try to just to make it quick and make it fast, you know. So for that, it was this video that I came up with when I was there. Like when I was there, I'm like, what if, like I saw a trend. It was a trend on TikTok of a girl that did that, and I'm like, well, maybe I should do it here. I could. So every day whenever I would wear, it's not like I would change for that. Like I wouldn't go out. Like it didn't take me hours to do that. It's just the fact that as I was visiting New York, and instead of saying, oh, can you take a picture of me here, I would be like, okay, can you do a video of me here like this? So then I would just put it together and edit it, and then I made that, and people loved it. I think it was super cute. I think it was a cute video.
It was great. Do you still do a lot of TikToks or no? Because I remember you had like your bachata series.
Right. People used to love that too, and I would love that one too. I don't make as many TikToks as I used to make before. Like before, it was crazy. I don't really know the trends. Like I don't do the trends that are trending on TikTok. I would just record myself freestyling, and people would love that. So I would just set up my phone and I'll do it. I don't do it as much anymore, but I do try. Sometimes I'm like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. Yeah, I try to keep it because now I'm thinking I complicate myself because now I want everything to be better. I don't just set my phone. Like, the quality has to be 4K. So everything is a little bit more complicated. In my head, I complicate myself. But I do try to, like when you go on TikTok, you'll see like random stuff. It's nothing compared to my Instagram. Like my Instagram is more like my card of presentation, like of me, you know, getting booked. And TikTok is just like me and PJs doing stupid things. Yeah.
It's kind of like your resume.
Yeah, exactly. So if I were to put that in my Instagram, it would be crazy. But when I started on TikTok, I started doing funny jokes. Not jokes, what's it called? Pranks on my dad. And people love me. Now my dad, every time I tell him, oh, let's do a video together, he's like scared. He's like, no, ya yo sé pa dónde va eso. Like I always end up like hurt or something. I'm like, bro, you'll be all right.
And I remember Howie Mandel reacted to one of them, and this was during the time where people thought he was like crazy. Like there was something going on TikTok with him where he was making videos and people thought he was like kidnapped or crazy or something like that.
Who?
Howie Mandel.
What he make?
He reacted, the bald guy that reacted to one of your videos.
Oh my God, yes. That's true. I'm telling you, like I've done a bunch of things and people, and I'm like, oh my God, that did happen to me. Yeah, I remember that. It was crazy. when I saw that video, I'm like, what why am I even there? Like, what's going on? Like, who did this? Who's setting this up? When I saw that, it was like, wow. But yeah, I do need to remember those things.
You do need to remember Howie Mandel. Yes.
Yeah, for example, I'm doing this wall in my room where I have a picture of every music video or production that I've been in, so I don't forget. Because yeah, sometimes I forget like the artist of the things that I've done, and it's like people are like, "How are you gonna forget that one thing?" And I'm like, I forgot about that. And before I used to crave something like that, and now you would forget it because now you do something more epic, and it's like you forget those things. So I want to keep remembering that. Yeah.
Do you feel like your mind is always looking for that next video, next skin, next dance?
I feel like a lot of artists go through that. It's never enough. It's never like, okay, I did this and that's it. I can die in peace. It's always like, okay, now what? That's already out. I have to make something.
I feel like that's a big thing, especially here in the States. Do either of you maybe think that's an issue? Like, do you think sometimes people
always
should
running through the
they always want the next big thing, and no one ever really happy with like the current moment?
Yeah, I'm trying to embrace it and be present. Because like I said, a lot of things that I've done and that I'm doing are things that I always wanted to do. Like, since I was little, there are things that I've always wanted to do. So I'm trying to be more grateful and happy and conscious when I do it and when I'm doing it, just because before I used to pray for that. And now that I get to do it, I just need to be grateful for that. But yeah, it is something that we're always thinking about. Like, oh, what's the next thing? You know, like, okay, I did this. Now what's the next step? Or what's after this? Yeah, it's very addicting. It's very addicting, and you feel like sometimes you feel, I'm just gonna say me, not in general, but sometimes I feel like my dark side feels that success comes with repetition. So if I don't do more, then I'm not being successful. And it's not really about that, but that's just like on my darkest side, my therapy side. It's like a drug. It's like you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. Yeah. So watch out for that.
Thoughts, Diego?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
No, I was wondering if you had a question, because I have a question.
Go ahead.
For someone who's 13, 14, just starting out, that just started dancing or started creating, do you have any advice for them?
Yes, I do. I would say don't listen to the haters. And we sometimes are our own biggest haters. Like, don't listen to the people that be like, I know that's boring, or that's dumb, or you're never gonna get anywhere with that. You know, look for a real career or anything. I think that when you are an artist of any type of artist, it's something that you can't control. Like, it's not that you want to create the fact of you liking something art related. No, it comes in it. Like, if you like to draw, if you like to paint, if you like to make jewelry, if you like to design sets, if you like dancing, acting, singing, you should definitely pursue and go after what you love. Because there's nothing worse, than working every day of your life in something that you don't like. So I would say don't listen to anybody that says that you're not capable of doing something that you know you want to do and that you're capable of doing. You should surround yourself with people that uplift you and make you feel like you are capable of doing that. Because once you feel something at a young age, that's great. You know, some people don't know what they want to do until they're older, which is also great. But if you are somebody who's 12 or 13 or 5 and you already know what you want to do, you should go for that.
Very inspiring.
I
feel inspired.
to go get some acting lessons.
I feel inspired to do anything at this point.
I feel like those are some good and wise words to end the podcast on.
But
so,
there's more.
Oh.
There's just one final question I have to ask.
Okay.
Are there any upcoming performances or upcoming projects that you have working on that you want to share with the audience?
Yes. So I did a movie. I did a movie, and it's an independent movie. It's not gonna come in Hollywood. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
You never know.
It'll get picked up.
You never know. But no, it was an indie independent movie. You know, I was one of the executive producers, which is the ones that you make your money, you put your money in it, and you make a bag, you make it count. So me and a bunch of others, actors that I have a bond with, and a director that we trust, we got a script writer who wrote a script for us based on, so it's 7 actors, and we told them, okay, so this is the location for the movie, these are the actors, and this is kind of like what we want it to look like. So we got a script writer, and we got a production. It was a very small thing. We had one guy for audio. Pobrecito, he was like this the whole time. Obviously, we also had mics on, but he had the boom, which is a hard job. Honestly, people that do that, yeah, and they hear everything. They hear everything. So it's like, even if you're talking shit, they're like with the boom. We had the photography director, which is the one that works the camera. And we have the director, which is the one that tells us what to do, and the actors, and we had a script supervisor. Like we had a small crew, but it was enough to make it work. So we did that, and it's gonna come out soon, hopefully. We've been editing, so I've been also helping out on that side, and it should come out by the beginning of October, end of September. And what we might do is a premiere at a theater. So it's most likely going to be free. So I think it's going to be free. So we're just going to publish it, and people are going to be able to go to the movies that one day to watch the film. And most likely we're going to send it to festivals. That way it gets like prizes and things like that, which is great. It really helped me a lot with experience, because I had never done a movie, and I've never had like continuity, as I say it, for so many days. I was there for 12 days, and doing like I had never been the same character for so long, and maintaining the storyline in my head, and the wardrobe and everything. Like I remember the first day, this is gonna come out here and only here. The first day,
exclusive.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody, please, because that just makes me a bad actress. But the first day, I came in and I didn't want to have a piercing on. So this piercing, I love it just because I can hide it. Like I can go inside and that's it. So for the movie, I didn't want to have my piercing on because I always have it on. So I wanted to look clean, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my piercing on. So my first shot, I came out with no piercing. And then I forgot, and then did the whole other 14 days of the movie with my piercing on. And that shot was perfect. Like I was crying. I was crying. It was very intense. Like I was like up here. And then when I found out that I had to remake it, it was horrible because now the pressure was on. It's like, how can I make this as organic as it was when I first made it with my piercing now? But I did it. So yeah, just stay tuned to go watch it.
What kind of genre is it? Like drama?
It's like thriller. It's like this drama and thriller thing. It's very like, ooh, like there's a lot of tension in it. and it's one of those movies that have you wondering the whole time, like, okay, who is it? Who's the one doing all of this? Who's gonna die first? And what's going on? Like, why is the music like this? Like, something's gonna happen. Why is the lights? It's that type of feeling. Yeah.
You said it was like what? You said 14 days, right?
Yeah.
So, how was it to act that long? Like, because I know actors have many different methods to act. What's your method like, and how did it feel to have to do that every single day for?
Okay, so I feel like I'm still discovering as I'm going what my preferred method is. I guess as I do more jobs and more rehearsals, I will exactly know what I like. But the thing is that when you're acting, you need to have like this little box of tools, and whatever comes in handy in that moment, that's what you have to use. So the best thing is to know like different methods and different ways to get things and to get to know yourself. Like, what is it that makes me, what is it that triggers me and makes me cry? What makes me laugh? You know, like those things, you need to be able to know which method to use to get to that. So I use a lot of imagination because it's very detached from everything as me and my own person. So whoever I am inside the set is not the same person that goes home with me. I leave that there. I don't take those traumas to my house. But sometimes I do take my traumas into that. It depends. It depends how intense it is. Sometimes it hits home and you get to use your feelings mixed with your character's feelings. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you can't do something that you haven't gone through or that you haven't researched about. Like, if you don't know anything about a drug addict, how are you going to make it true that you are a real drug addict? You know, and for somebody who's actually been through that, watching that, you don't want them to be like, that's not how it is. This shit's fake. You know, you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be like, that's exactly
as realistic as possible.
Realistic as
The
possible.
audience needs to connect with you.
Yeah,
they need to feel it.
Exactly. You need to be relatable. It needs to be real. So the only way to do that is if you mix real, like you have real feelings from real experiences or real research. You know, so I don't think I have a specific method yet, but I do go back and forth with imagination and repetition. Repetition is great because there's this saying that in the repetition is where creation is born. Like, sometimes you repeat something because sometimes they'll be like, oh, aren't you tired of repeating the same thing? For like people that do theater, aren't you tired of repeating the same thing? And it's like, no, like every time you do it, you feel differently. Sometimes you can do a same scene for a bunch of times and you don't really understand what your character is doing in the scene until the 10th time that you do it, and it's like, now I get it. Now I felt what it's supposed to be. So in the repetition, that's where you notice. So I do a lot of that repetition, but also improv is my best thing. Like, I love it when I don't have to repeat something, but it's just something that's organic and it went out there and I killed it and perfect, I'm out. Now when they're like, okay, can we do it again because the light wasn't really right, I'm like, I don't know if I can do that again like that. So obviously that's something that I'm working on. So that's why repetition is great. So you get to find, you don't need to have the best acting all the time. You just need to find the right moment. Because at the end of the day, they're going to cut and edit. So what matters is that in each clip, you have a moment. And that's what I'm trying to work on.
I'm a little ignorant when it comes to improv, but that's like kind of just going with the like making your own story kind of thing.
So it depends on the director that you have. Some directors, like, they don't allow you to even change a comma on the script. They're like, no, that's not what it says. And they make you do it again and again and again and again. Others are like, you can just, as long as you stay in the same vibe and idea, you can just do your own thing. So instead of saying, I'm lazy, you say, I don't like doing anything. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you can switch it up. But it always depends on the director. If the director is not done with that, then you can't do that. Because the director is the one that knows how everything's going to play out. And he's going to talk to the editor. And if your movement, it depends what you're doing it for. Like, if it's something live, or if it's a one-time thing, or if it's like a movie. But it depends what the format is. Because sometimes you can't just improv, because the person editing needs to edit good. And if you're like this, and then in the next shot you're like this, and then in the next shot you're like this, then when he cuts, it's like,
Yeah.
So it depends. It always depends on the format that you're doing, and what the director allows you to do.
It's great.
Pretty good.
Well, congratulations, first off, for completing that. Hopefully it does come out soon. And so you're a part of the editing process, or you kind of like watch an overview?
So each of us, besides acting, since it was a small crew and everything, we were doing it ourselves. Everybody had to act, and also they had a side job. So some people had to act and make sure we had catering every single day, like the food coming in. Some people had to act and make sure that the continuation of the outfits were fine. Some people had to act and make sure that other things were good. So since I'm more inclined to editing, it was more natural for me to also have the job of, it's like a little bit of, it's like a helping or supervising. So there's an editor that we have, but I sit with him and we choose things after he's done that. After he's done doing something, I sit with him and I'm like, okay, maybe we should replace that with that other one that we had, or yeah, that's good, but it's too much of this. So he makes, because if I do it with him, everything, we would have to be there day and night. So he just edits first, and then I sit with him and we make like final cuts of everything. And that was my job.
It sounds exciting, and that sounds like a lot of work. So unless you have any more last words, Garcia.
No, I just wanted to say that, Emily, you've been a great guest, and you seem very disciplined in your line of work, and you look like you put a lot of effort into it. So I want to give you props for that, because right now you're like shitting on me and Brian.
No. Thank you guys for having me. I think it's great. I was super excited to be here just because I love the fact that we went to school together, and I like to connect with people that like we met in different circumstances. Like we were in school, but then you're doing something that's art related, and it's like there's like strings and things, and I like it. I like it when we get to support each other. Yeah.
Hopefully one day one of those strings will be pulled, and I'll get a foot rub from Marc Anthony also.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
I wouldn't mind one from Anita.
I guess we have different goals. All right, thank you guys for viewing, watching, and subscribing. We'll have all of Emily's things down below in the comments. Check her out, and hopefully, I don't know when this comes out, but not anytime soon.
Not soon.
Not soon.